Thank you so much.
Hi, Thorsten.
There seems to be a jingle coming, as it seems. And Mathieu, you owe me a beer, man. That's like 4 minutes above time, right? Definitely, yeah? So my name's Thorsten Jung. I'm going to be your host for the next 15-ish minutes, yeah, you can say. And as you know, within the real-time locating system, RTLS in short, there are tons of opportunities out there, yeah, in the different kind of industries. Let it be simple asset tracking, let it be position-based tool control, for example, or you want to lower your throughput times in a production process, like for example, factory automation or something, right? Tons of opportunities in the different industries. Today, I want to look into rather a use case linked to the pharma industry, because here pretty much the documented batch recording is of very high importance, yeah? In order to reduce the amount of waste and of course to increase the efficiency. And to kind of start this topic right here with you, I thought I'll start directly with the benefits of it. So basically you can make a picture right now, you can go home, whatsoever. No, of course, just joking, yeah? That's too boring, right? You've seen enough business slides these days, I think. So therefore, in order to get your attention, I thought about something else. I thought about making a YouTube video, but promoting it in the way like these fancy YouTubers these days do it, right? Because I noticed this trend out there where, you know, YouTubers, they have this blurry background typically, and they have some 2-3 sharp, yeah, like items in there, or a facial expression of a certain person, right? And you have a punchline, like for example here, saving millions. Yeah. Actually, where's marketing? I don't know, but this is all as per style guide, so all okay to use, definitely. Nevertheless, of course, this is not how we start a discussion with a customer, that they click on a video or something. But I was hoping to get your attention here. So I guess you want to save millions, right? Yes. Okay, good. Terrific. Because it was actually the other way around. GSK, you know GSK? Yeah, quite pretty much known, quite established pharma company out there in the world, global company. They approached us. The CEO didn't click on the video, right? We didn't lure them into a discussion, right? They approached us that for their pharma site, they wanted to solve the topic of the timeout of cold store use case. What do I mean by timeout of cold store? Thinking of this company, you have the bulk drug substance, yeah, a huge buffer stock which is in the freezer, and as soon as it gets out of the freezer, you need to produce this buffer stock to get to the end product in a certain duration. You only have a certain amount of time. In order to get leverage on this process, they wanted to automate this. Because this process was so far achieved by lots of barcode scanning, lots of manual procedures, lots of paperwork, yeah? And of course, human error kicks into this. So they agreed on going on to a feasibility study with us, where already at the beginning of the feasibility study, in order to get the leverage out of there, because they were exposed already to some RFID topics, right? We turned into a more RTLS-y discussion. And as you can see right here, these are not slides from Siemens. These are slides from GSK. And GSK themselves use these slides to promote and show this use case to their internal sites or to external partners and everything, right? So I'm not talking only a mumbo jumbo level, I'm really talking real deal live installation. This is why I'm directly using these slides here. So, and this seems to be not only, are there pharma companies here? It's not so many people, I just see 2 cameras, but maybe behind the screen, hopefully. This is not only a GSK issue, this is a general topic for the pharma industry. As you see this, there's tons of potential in behind of leveraging to reduce the amount of waste being there, and of course increase the quality of the process. This comes from Gartner. As soon as you take the bulk drug substance out of the freezer, out of the cold store, the clock is ticking, yeah? And of course you can do this manually, but by doing this manually, you of course have tons and tons of paperwork. There are tons of regulations in the pharma industry. I'm not a pharma industry expert, I'm honest. But of course, knowing how much movement is there between a site in terms of regulations to track respectively and record everything for a drug substance, lots of manual work, you bind your resources of your workers, and if human error comes in, you remember the statement from before, you're possibly bound to lose tons of money here. Yeah? And originally the intention of GSK was to get the batches produced faster. Yeah? But more was at the end of the outcome of it. So I mentioned before that the discussion during the feasibility study turned pretty much into an RTLS, yeah, bit of topic. And for those of you who are not so familiar with RTLS, real-time locating system, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about gateways. You can either mount them in areas where you say, I just want to have, let's say, the understanding that a certain material, certain asset is located in a certain area, or you can go full-fledged RTLS mode, having an accuracy of down to 30 centimeters to really have an understanding where the buffer stock is located. I'm talking as well about these tags. Could be regular tags, a small one, or e-paper tags that needs, you can put tons of information on this e-ink display, like for example the PO, the unique ID of this buffer stock, the amount of time still available for this buffer stock, and these are rechargeable, it's perfectly fine, QR codes can be put on there, and of course on top, to hook up all the data from the bottom into the system, there's the locating manager to do so. Was it an easy, how shall I say, sail through for Siemens at GSK? No, it wasn't. I mean, it's a global company, come on, right? We did the feasibility study, and they identified some limitations. We talked about freezers. Can our e-ink display go down to minus 40 degrees Celsius? No, it can't. And of course, they reached out to other vendors, right? In order to figure out really is the technology, ultra wideband, is this all right? Yeah? Can we use other technology to cover this use case? Can we scale? This is exactly of high importance for GSK, or was for high importance for GSK, because they wanted to start with a site, possibly expanding this site, and then copy and paste this site onto others, yeah, to steadily grow here. This was their intention. But seeing this page right here, coming from GSK, yeah, and being a supplier, a full-scale supplier in the identification business, having as well RFID solutions, yeah, we were able to cover the above kind of point. And as a matter of fact, no other supplier was capable of doing so, but we've covered this with RFID. So as long as the buffer stock is on the inside of the freezer, there is an RFID tag on it. As soon as it gets out, the marriage takes place, meaning from the RFID onto the RTLS tag, all the information gets transferred, and then from then on, it's a smooth sailing, no automatic, or no manual recording anymore necessary. In order to give you a bit of an animation, Susanne, thank you for this. Yeah, coming from our marketing, I love that one because this visualizes this pretty well. Here you see the freezer, right, the cold store, and inside of the cold store, we got a tag based on RFID, and as soon as it gets out, it gets read through, gets automatically put onto this e-ink display, onto the e-paper with all the information, and from then on, everything runs basically automatically. Everything is tracked exactly up to the point you need it to be, and no need to do manual processing anymore, right? So, and not to dwell only on a theory level, on an animation level, here's what happens after the feasibility study together with GSK, right? We've did a device planning. This is typically the procedure. We've been at the site of GSK in order to really check out the site, learning how and where to place potentially the gateways and make respective proposals. You see here the floor plan of GSK. I don't go into detail, but there's tons of movement there, right, of the buffer stock. There are tons of crates which they move. And at the end of the day, Siemens then comes up with the proposals, the experts being there, where to place which gateway upon the request of the customer. Do you want to be exact, allocated in that area, or is it just fine to know that there's this buffer stock located in a certain kind of room? And you're seeing the dispensing area. It's right down there at the right-hand corner. There are many more of these green numbers. That means the amount of gateways being installed in there. In this area, they wanted to have an exact down to 30 centimeters allocation of the buffer stock to really have an understanding which of the material needs to be produced at that moment in time. Yeah, that's important. What I want to convey with this slide right here, it's not only about the hardware, right? I mean, Siemens gives you the hardware, fine, fancy, cool. But important for GSK was to make the best use out of all the data you get from the bottom, of course, from the field, is to, of course, get connected to their IT landscape, to the MES system, to the ERP system, yeah, and into their so-called integration layer. That was important for GSK. So not only the hardware side, but as well the proper integration of the whole system, yeah. And important as well for GSK was that we're able to validate this, to test this beforehand in the real deal process, and then to implement this and getting further and optimize this. And this was possible, and that you see how this ends up at the end of the day. This is the RTLS GSK integration layer. This is the system we feed our data into. You see the floor plan right here. And just as an example, GSK puts them, because they love them at the end of the day, they love these e-ink displays. They put the PO number up there from each crate, from each buffer stock. They know exactly, based of course on the system at the end of the day, the integration layer, where this buffer stock is located. This e-ink display can display directly at the operator level that now this is the amount of time left in order to produce and get this substance into the final end product and get it into the dispensing area. And it flashes as soon as it comes to a kind of limit, right, where you need to get it produced. Important as well, of course, based on geofences you put right up there, alarms can be created, events can be created, so everything can be as well seen in this integration layer. It's important for me to convey that, and here you see on the right-hand side, this was not part of the GSK deal because they had their own integration layer. But of course, it's possible, guess what, to get this as well from Siemens, right? That's the location intelligence. It's this middleware software to get all the data from the field, from the bottom, to get really to the IIoT plant, to the digital twin where you want to be at, yeah, into this middleware, and at the end into the respective MES ERP system to really get the best out of it and leverage the whole possibilities you have. Yeah, I mean, this slide speaks for itself. You're smart enough, old enough to read on your own. But what I'm trying to convey here is, just think of it. It's not scans per day. They have thousands of batches, hundreds of batches. It's 180 plus scans per batch they reduced. As soon as there's the e-paper on there, there's no need anymore to do manual barcode scanning. So they totally removed this kind of approach here. Yeah? There's no need to think, oh my gosh, where is this crate? I need to, let's say, move this to the dispensing area. No, they exactly know where it is and respectively act in order to get this buffer stock to the dispensing area. Of course, what I like most here is, significantly reduce the risk of human error. This doesn't come in there, so this reducing of waste, reducing of money, right? Burning money, right? It's a pharma company, and what I pretty much like is they say it exceeded the expectations of the site. And it's not only that site we're talking about right now, therefore, because GSK wanted, as I mentioned before at the beginning, copy and paste it onto other sites, and this is what we're doing right now with GSK on that end. And this bit I wanted to sum this up in a more business-like slide, in order to come to the IoT plant, to this digital plant where you want to be, having everything transparently, having all the data right up there, feeding your ERP, MES system. You need, of course, to connect the elements from the field, and this is possible within the Siemens process automation, right? And of course, to sum this up, next time you see this video up here, click on it to directly save millions. I mean, this video is not existent, of course. It's just my fun thing. But yeah, next time you know about it. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you for watching. To learn more about this topic, check out the links in the description. And if you enjoyed what you saw, like the video and subscribe to the channel.